Hey guys, we're going to get started shortly. Hopefully you can hear us. Just give a couple minutes to get everybody else on. All right, good morning guys. Like I said, we'll give it a couple more seconds for everybody else to hop on the screen here. Make sure we got everybody who's joining us on, ready to go. We'll get started here. Let me check. It's 11:03. So let's give it one more minute or so. Okay, well, looks like we got everybody. I'm not gonna hold you guys up any longer, so I'll stop this and start this. Okay, what's up, guys? Good morning. How's it going?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good, looking fresh. I'm actually in the office here today, back here in Chicago, and looks like it's sunny. So it's a nice weekend. Nice to wake up and get a little sunshine going into the weekend over here. I'll have us today try and get us off of here, 20, 30 minutes or so. I definitely want to have it open if anybody does have any questions, definitely feel free to ask. And one thing that I would recommend to do is right here in my office, actually, I have a bookshelf sitting up here. And, I had a bunch of books that's in there. I'm not even close to all my books. But I put a couple special ones here that, I can kind of pull and have stuff come out of. And a lot of people have been taking them, actually. But some of the books I have up here are my books, actually. And if you guys can see these things, they're the hardback notebooks. Over the years, I've sat in some amazing meetings, and I've had some amazing people teach me things, and I ended up taking notes on things like this. And what happens too is when you set this in a pile, over time, this starts to get messed up. And then what happens is it starts to do this. And then all those valuable time, think about how much time you spent and how much time that person spent. Sometimes you have a person who spent 30 years doing something and giving you knowledge, and then they just gave it to you in 30 minutes, and you think that it cost you 30 minutes and you lost 30 minutes of knowledge. No, you lost 30 years worth of knowledge, and it's all because of just the piece of paper that I chose to write it down on. So I learned the hard way, probably got millions of dollars of knowledge that I've learned that literally is on sheets of paper that fell off and they crumbled up and they're probably no longer nowhere to be found. So what I started to do is I started getting hardback notebooks, and the pages don't fall out of these things. They're in there pretty solid, and the hardback protects it. So I have notes from My first month in this company was July of 2008. And if you guys can see the note on here, I don't know if you can see the
Nice.
date, right? That's 13 years ago, right? Almost. And I still have it. It's fresh as the day. Now, my process on this was I need to make sure I have this information so I never lose it. But also, I'm building something special here. And from the beginning, I told myself that you are going to be building something very special that your family is changing your family's life. And one day, someone's going to come to you and say, how did you do all this? And I'm going to say, well, it's in these books. Every single meeting that I was in and that I was part of for the last 12 years is literally in these books. I can tell you what I was doing. Let's go to any random page here. I can just figure it out. Yeah. I wonder what Tommy was doing in, what is this? Here is this. 6/4, 2010. 2010. 2010. You want to know what the notes were? Here it is. Ready? Watch the company you keep. Work hard one day at a time. Live successfully each day. A successful life is a bunch of days strung together. Play to win like there is no tomorrow. Never give up. Never ever give up. Make your mind to meet your goal, not to fail. Eric Giglione said, just get into the business and just last. Then the next meeting says, our goal is to become the #1 office in Florida. And we just opened an office in January, or in Jacksonville this month. I remember we opened that Jacksonville office, and that was our goal. Our focus is going to be a phone inspection. Make sure the team is really good on the phones, and it starts with appointment set. You can't do anything unless we have appointments set. You're not going to make any sales or see anybody until we set the appointments. Who enjoys being on the phones? You got to make it fun. There's no substitute for enthusiasm and mental toughness. There's no exception for that. How bad do you want it? Everything happens. It happens daily, not in a day. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Inspect what you expect. You have to have a culture of urgency, not a culture of lackadaisicalness. You have to be a vision caster. You need to see your vision first before you can cast it to others. Are you a doer or a feeler? Do you do it needs to be done, or you do it feels good? Are you a lifter or are you a leaner? Do you lift others up or do you lean on others? Are you a problem solver or a problem causer? Like, these are my notes from 2010. What's cool is I have all of it here, and I just hope that you guys one day can have the same thing. So regardless if it's here, there, or anywhere else you go, try and have a notebook that you bring along with you wherever you go. And then it fills up, and then it fills up. And then you have to go to your next notebook. So where's my notebook that I'm on now? And everywhere I go, I'm a millionaire, and I carry around a book bag like I'm a student. Guys, you see me walking around. I'll be wearing a 3-piece suit, Louis Vuitton, everything, hopping out of Ferrari, and I gotta go into the hood and get my book bag. When me and Emerson Gonzalez parked this Ferrari in his driveway, we were getting the stuff out of it, and 2 to 3, he had to grab things out of the Ferrari. You know what it was? Those books. He had to get the books out of the Ferrari. Look, I'll show you. But I had to videotape because this is it. How do you get a Ferrari? You read a lot of books, But anyways, I carry a book bag around with me everywhere that I go. And guess what I put in my book bag? Books. Leadership books, right? All my notebooks. This is the one I'm on now. This book right here. I got this. I had a little cross on it. I thought it was cool, So that's the notebook I'm on now. All my notes are in this thing, leather bound, hard, nice. It's not going anywhere. When this thing's full, I'm going to go get another one. I'm going to fill that thing up, you know? And everywhere I go, I got a notebook. And sometimes my notebook, it isn't like some profound meeting. It's not like I met with, Tony Robbins or Bill Gates, and he's giving me notes, and I'm putting like billions. Sometimes my notebook is my thoughts. I was on the airplane the other day, and I mapped out how to become a billionaire real quick. I was like, you know what? Let's have some fun. I got a pen and I got a paper. That means I have endless possibilities. The only thing that's going to limit me at this point is my mind. And guess where I was on? An airplane. So I'm like, if I'm going to be on an airplane, I'm going to be sky high. I might as well take my dreams sky high and take them as far as I can get them. I'm already this high. Let's go a little bit higher. So when I'm on an airplane, that's my time when I really dream. And I take my notebooks out and I map it down for you. So I taught this to the managers the other day, and I figured I'll teach it to you guys real quick. It's called the Rule of 72. Is anybody familiar with the Rule of 72? Okay, so when I was a financial advisor, this was huge. My dad taught this to me at a young age, which I was lucky. And basically, the equation is, if you're writing this down, okay, the equation is you got to take 72, got to write 72, and then put a line under it, divided by 72, divided by the interest rate that we get on our money. So whatever interest rate you're getting on your money. And that's going to equal for us, it's going to equal how many years it takes for our money to double. So for instance, let's just say that you have $100,000, okay? And you invest that money. What interest rate are you getting on that money? Are you getting 5%? Are you getting 10%? What type of investment is it? Are you getting 20%? Let's use 10%. Let's say you invest that money and you're getting 10% rate of return, 10% interest on your money. Now let's do the math, guys. Based upon this equation, we take 72 divided by 10, because that's the interest rate, and that equals what? 72 divided by 10 equals 7.2. So 7.2 is how many years it's going to take for that money to double. So if you're 30 and you have 100,000 and you invest it and you get 10%, basically by the time you're 37, that 100,000 is going to be worth what? 200,000, right? And then if that 200,000 you leave it invested another 7 years, now you're 44, that 200,000 will now be worth 400,000. So now you're 44, 7 more years, you'll be 51. The 400,000 will be worth 800,000. When you're 58, that's 7 more years, that 800,000 will be worth what? 1.6. Now 7 more years, when you're 65, that'll be worth what? What's that? 3.2. So you're 65, you're at 3.2 million. So basically, if you catch a 30-year-old now who can get 100,000 set up, and they just put that 100,000 aside and just never touch it again, and they get an average of 10%, which there's some stock market tips you can do. There's some mutual funds that have proven to get 10% over it. The stock market generally gets around 10% over an extended period of time. So, that's definitely a viable and a possible option to get. And they never, that means they never invest another penny again. They just do 100,000 and that's it. They're going to be looking at having about $3 million set up for themselves when they're 65, and then if you keep that going and going out, that 3 million will turn into 6 million, the 6 million will turn into 12 million by the time they're about 79, So what I did the math on, if you have $1 million saved up by the time you're 37, and then you get 20% on your money, you will be a billionaire by the time you're 77.
Did you say 27 or 37?
If you have a $1 million saved up by the time you're 37, you can take that $1 million and if you get 20%, your money will double every 3.6 years. And what I use is 4. So let's just say your money will double every 4 years. Now, how are you going to get 20% though is the key. 20% is not as easy to get. You have to really have some good investments at your disposal. So the thought process on this is, when you have $1 million, you're going to be able to be more picky and choosy of where you want your money to go because everybody wants it. Like, do you think the bank wants you to put your $1 million in their bank? Yes, they want you to be a client, right? So they're going to say, hey, if you put your money here, we're going to give you this type of interest rate. But then the bank over there, they want your money too. So you'll say, well, they are going to give me this interest rate over here. If you want my $1 million, I'll put it over there, but you're going to have to beat that interest rate. So this bank's like, we'll do that. And then you're going to have investors coming to you. Hey, I got a great investment opportunity. I'm like, all right, well, what is it? I said, we can make 7%. I said, I only do 20%. Unless I ask 20%, don't even come to me. So now what happens is when the people who got money, they don't just give their money out for nothing. You say, unless it's a 20% business opportunity, don't even bring it to me. So now you're able to be more picky and choosy with who you're able to invest with. And that's what I've learned over time is people with the money, they end up making even more money because they don't even want to deal with the small stuff. And people want their all right, fine. And so you want to start a business, right? And you want to come to someone, you say, listen, man, can I borrow $1 million to start my business? And he's like, I want 20%. I'll loan it to you. And you're like, oh, geez, 20%'s a lot. But it's either my business the same, I don't borrow the money, and I don't invest the money, and I keep my business the same, or I borrow the money off of Tommy, invested in my business, blow my business up. It's going to cost me 20%, but I'd rather pay the 20% and blow up my business rather than not pay the 20% and stay the same. So that's where you get into these business owners who pretty much, they don't have a choice, but if they want the money, they got to pay the points. So I'm just giving you guys some quick examples, and this is high and long. This is just pretty much off-topic type of stuff. But I just want you to know that there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot to do out there. There's a lot of different options, and the key is, none of this would be possible without me getting into this industry when I was 21 years old. When I was 22 years old, I got into the financial services industry and was exposed to all this, and it makes more and more sense the more and more that you do it. So, the best advice I was given was get into the financial services industry and just last. Just be there 20 years from now and you'll be set. It'll work out. My first year out of college, guys, I worked in the financial services industry, and I worked a lot, man. When I do something, I do it. I do it. Like if I'm going to be a football player, when I played college football, that was it, guys. I was subscribed. I was a fully. I didn't get the quarterly subscription or the monthly subscription. I got the day-to-day, hour by hour. I was subscribed to this deal 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Coach, you got all of me, all of them. Like unless somebody in my family died and they're close to me, I might have to miss for a funeral. But other than that, you got me first. That's how I always have been. So when I went into this industry, that was it. It got to the point where like all my friends, all my friends, they were calling me Tommy Wall Street because all I talked about was the markets, finances, business, money, investments, financial advising. If it didn't have anything to do with that, you know, they got in my car and they wanted to listen to music, and I had Bloomberg on, Bloomberg, CNBC, you know, trying to find out what's going on with the, you know, the markets and all that stuff. So when I do something, I do it all out. So I promise you guys, my first year, there was no vacations for me. But I was told that, Tommy, you're starting your own business. You know, so I took that approach. Like, this is my business. I'm starting my business. So what I know is if you're going to start your own business, most businesses that you start on your own, you actually don't make money your first year. The opposite happens. You actually lose money, usually go into debt your first 1 to 2 years, and you don't have no time freedom. Every penny that you make, you put back into the business. And in fact, usually you don't make enough money, so you have to borrow money in your first few years and you go into debt. And there's no vacations. That's what happens when you start a new business. So I don't know if you met anybody who started their own business and they're actually successful. Ask them. Ask them. It's not just at this company. It's anybody. Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, anybody. Mark Cuban. Ask them what they did. These people. So it's no different here. And my first year, I made $32,000. So a lot of people would be like, "Oh, that's rough, man. You work 80 hours a week, you made $32,000." You know what? If I sat there and added up, I made $9 an hour or something crazy like that. $9 an hour. So I was like, I definitely didn't go to college to make $9 an hour. I didn't become a financial advisor to make $9 an hour. But what I was learning, I was getting paid in experience. The money that I was making was not even close to what I was gaining in experience. Such an invaluable experience that I got. 3 years as a financial advisor. My first year I made 30. My second year I made 50. My third year I made 70,000. Those are my first 3 years out of college. You know, I worked 80 hours a week, easy, every single week. But like I said, if I just added up the hours and the money, I would have been pretty discouraged. But it was what I was building for the long term. And what's nice to know is it didn't cost me any money either. So you want to look at this like going to school. And that's how I mentally was able to handle making like no money and working this much. The cool thing is here, it's not like that. It is, but it's not as much. Like my first year here, I made 120,000. People's first year here, they make way more than 30,000. Okay, but I had to get used to making this much and working this much. And the way that I got through it was just telling myself that it's like school. I was like, when you graduate college, which you're, undergrad, you have an opportunity to go what? You could go get your master's degree. So I was going to go get my master's of business, my MBA. That was my goal. I was go get your MBA. So that is a 2-year program. And I was going to go to Pitt. It was called the Katz School of Business, K-A-T-Z, Katz School of Business. And I was going to get my MBA. And I did the math on that. I said, that's going to be 2 more years. Oh, so I got to add somebody in here. 2 more years of school to get your master's. And what is going to happen over those 2 years? First of all, 2 years is going to go by. If you go get your master's, what do they teach you? They're going to teach you a bunch of book knowledge. And what are you going to make? You're not going to make anything. You're actually going to have to pay money. And then after those 2 years are up, guess what you got to do? You got to go find a career. So I was like, instead of taking those 2 years and getting my master's in business administration, a bunch of random general knowledge, spending money, wasting 2 years, and then you don't even got a career, why don't you take those 2 years and put it into becoming a financial advisor and take all of your time and instead of learning book knowledge, you're going to learn hands-on, real physical experience. Like you're going to be talking to live clients. You're going to be dealing with live situations. That's hands-on, real experience and real knowledge versus sitting in a book talking about scenarios, about equations that are never going to be used in real life, because that's pretty much what the business school is all about, you know? So that was, then I said, how about instead of spending money for the next few years, you actually get to make money too. And instead of waking up 2 years from now, and now you get your MBA, but guess what you got to do? Now you got to go get a career and get started from scratch. Now, 2 years from now, you'll already have a career. You won't have to go find nothing, and you won't be getting started anything from scratch. You'll already have a career built and a lot of momentum going. So when you take that mental approach to just treating it like school, you know, it allowed me to not put as much pressure on myself and give myself time to develop. So if you think about school, you don't make money, you actually spend money, but you get better. That's why you're like, I'll pay the money because I feel like I'm getting better as a person, so it's worth it. Well, the cool thing here is we don't have to pay money. We get to make money and get all the same aspects of school. We get to get better, you know, as a person, but as a business person, you know, and don't forget there's two aspects to this. There's the business person, you know, and that's why we got to work on ourselves as a person, as a whole, because a lot of that stuff as a person goes right into our business. This is our personal business. So if you have personal strengths, a lot of those strengths flow right into business. And a lot of times the weaknesses will flow into business as well. So if you're not too tight on, if you're disorganized as a person, you're probably going to be disorganized as a business person. If you're late as a person all the time, you're probably going to be late as a business person, right? But if you're highly prepared, if you're always making sure that you're prepared, and if you're organized, and if you're, I don't know, if you're detail oriented, you know, then you're probably going to be pretty detail oriented in business. So, you know, that's why if we just continue to work on ourselves as a person, a lot of times the business stuff, we can teach that. I can teach people the business. I can teach you what to say, how to say it, but sometimes it's that intangible stuff, you know, that it's not as easy to teach. And sometimes it's just a thing of time. You know, we just have to continue to work on ourselves. And how many of us are professionals at developing ourselves? You know, not many people spend much time developing themselves. We'll wake up and we'll go right to work at anything. We'll go up, we'll work on the kids. I'll work on, you know, if people are handy, I know they'll go out there and they'll build stuff with their hands. They'll work, they'll make phone calls. We'll work on our script. We'll work on our presentation. We'll work on getting our license. But at the end of the day, we did all this work, and you know, we found out we never worked on ourselves. So like, how good are you going to be at working on, I don't know, working on woodwork if you never do it? You know, how good are you going to be at working on yourself if you never do it? So someone's like, I don't know how to start. Like, I'm not good at working on myself. I'm not good at pouring into myself. I'm like, well, yeah, because you never do it. That's like me saying I'm not good at building tables. Of course, because I never build tables. I don't even know where to get started, you know, but if every day I keep working at it, eventually I'll be good at building tables, and I'll be good at, so if every day you just start working on yourself somewhere, you get better and better at it. So I always say there's 3 things you want to try and do, you know, in the morning before you get going. And it takes time, and nobody wants to do it because I'll be honest with you, it's a pain in my ass. If I could just wake up, get a shower, brush my teeth, and just get on with the day, I would do it. And you know what? That's what 99% of the people out there to do. The people that pour into themselves, it's a pain in their butt. You got to go out of your way. You got to take that time. And I always do something inspirational, something motivational, and something educational in the morning. And it really, I'll find, sometimes I'll be pulling that stuff out later in the week. 3 weeks from now, something happens, or somebody on my team needs some help, and I'll pull something that I didn't even know I had in my head or in my heart that was just set in there in the mornings over the last 12 years. Like, try and catch me now, guys. I've been doing this for 12 years. You ain't catching me. I'm sorry. It ain't going to happen. You're never going to catch me. I apologize for saying that. I hope you don't think it's cocky or anything, but I've been pouring into myself every single morning for 12 years. You understand? Like, every single morning, I listen to something inspirational, I listen to something motivational, and listen to something educational. So I just got so much firepower that's in there that I could just go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And the educational stuff gives me confidence, and it's like putting another feather in my cap. That's all. It don't even have to be something about business. I just want to learn something new for the day, and it gives me that little bit of a chip on the shoulder to let me know when I see somebody, I'm like, I know something you don't. I know something you don't know. Oh, by the way, I was hanging out with Bill Gates this morning. Who were you hanging out with? That's right. Yep. I listened to a 30-minute Bill Gates this morning about how blah, blah, blah. I was hanging out with Jeff Bezos. I was hanging with Arnold Schwarzenegger this morning. Who are you hanging out with this morning? And I try and find some cool ass people to get to hang out with, and I get to hang out with them for free every single morning. You just put them right on my YouTube. I was hanging out with Will Smith this morning, Denzel Washington this morning, Oprah, so you can do stuff like that. Gary V, all of them people, Grant Cardone, Les Brown, TD Jakes, Joel Osteen, all those people. So you can get involved and get with them people in the morning, and that just gives you a little bit extra juice, a little bit extra fire. And if you do it every single day, it starts to become a habit, and then it's like coffee, and then you feel like you can't even go on your day without listening to it. And speaking of coffee, I gave coffee up about a year ago. I'm about 14, 15 months clean on coffee, and I never had more energy in my life. Never had more energy in my life. So I was just thinking about that this morning. In fact, you know what I was drinking? I got Gio one of these. Is a green tea matcha green tea matcha, a green matcha green tea latte. So that's with coconut milk. So that no dairy. So that's what me and Gio we're drinking this morning.
I actually recommend soy milk. It has a vanilla flavor that adds such a nice kick to it.
Yes, I would recommend that too, but I can't have soy. Yeah, so I have to go coconut, and it's just something but actually coconut puts a little sweetness to it too. Definitely, yeah, definitely does. So yeah, so you know about the matcha then. I don't got to tell you. Okay.
Often, I can't drink coffee, so it's the same thing. But I actually had a question. So, you talked about like watching videos and motivational, inspirational, and educational things in the morning. I know that you said that the videos are about 30 minutes each. So do you put aside 30 minutes per category for that in the morning, or how does it work for you?
Yeah, I give myself a good half hour to an hour, depends on my day, and some of the videos are 10 minutes, some of them are 15, some of them are 5. I mean, it's not always about the quantity, it's about the quality. Sometimes I'll read a quote and I'll get more from that quote than I got from a 15-minute video, and some of the video sits more and some of it doesn't sit more, but I try and make sure I get 3 of them in there. And like Ed Milet usually interviews somebody. And those interviews are about an hour long, and I know I'm not going to be able to listen to the whole thing. So sometimes I'll break it up, and I'll do like that interview. It'll take me 4 days to do it. I'll do 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. And what's cool is I know for the next 4 days, I already got my education. I'm going to learn about how this I like the one day I learned, I was just like, you know what? There's got to be something I can learn from this kid. And basically this kid was like 16 years old, and he became the #1 social media guy on YouTube, right? So I'm like, there got to be something I can learn from him. And I listened to that guy. And then the one girl, you know, or the one guy, he was in a gang in California, and he ended up being a big entrepreneur. And I'm like, I got to be something I can learn from him. But that was a good, 45, 50-minute video. And that took me like 3 days to maybe learn, because I wasn't going to dedicate a whole morning to that. So yeah, I try and do a good half hour to an hour. Just depends on the morning and everything and what the content is. If I know I'm going Joel Osteen, that's a good 15, 20-minute sermon, he's going to put in there. But if you look in the group me, I usually post what I've listened to in the morning right after I'm done, with listening to them. I'll post them in there, whatever I listen to for the morning too. And what's nice is you don't have to go very far. Like obviously, if you have your own people that you're vibing to, then listen to them. But you don't have to go very far, because our group me that we have, the app, like it's basically just a big group of the whole team. Everybody can post in there in the mornings, bright and early. Pretty much every morning, if you just don't want to think, you could just go into group me and just click the first video that's posted and just roll with that. Sometimes it's David Goggins, and David Goggins talks a little differently than other people. So you got to know, David Goggins is going to be probably saying, mother effer this, and, he's going to be saying, you got to get hard. And, he's a whole different type of animal. Right. So, but it's all good to mix it up too, and stuff. Let me see what I had. I had Jocko Willett. I had his book up here. Maybe somebody took it. But he spoke at our convention when we were in San Diego, because San Diego is where they do the Navy SEAL training. So we got him to come in. He was a Navy SEAL, and he spoke to everybody. And he has a lot of stuff on YouTube and different videos now as well. So I've been following him a little bit since I got exposed to him. But there's so much on YouTube. I don't really look any further. I usually do YouTube, or I got my books on tape. Man, I can't tell you what a great thing to listen to in the morning is. Just some, Leadership Gold by John Maxwell. The one I'm listening to right now is called Leaders Eat Last. Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek.
Influence they can have over our financial standing.
It's an audio book.
Their decision would still have been completely counter to customer interest.
So, that one of my favorites to listen to.
By taking lots of action.
I listen to so many times. This is purely entertainment for me at this point.
Going, you don't have to be perfect, because the reality is you're never going to be perfect anyway. You'll never become polished at your career only handling a handful of opportunities. The more action you take, the more business you have, the more you get into new levels of action, the better chance you have actually.
Grant Cardone, Sell or Be Sold. I don't need to listen to this. I've listened to this so many times. And for sales, I know how to teach sales inside and out, but I still like listening to it because it's just like, it's my practice. It's like a football player watching a football game. I like it. It's fun for me. I like to hear his sales tactics and stuff. And plus it just refreshes me, keeps me sharp. And if I ever have to teach some sales, I also got some of his stuff, to roll off of. So like when I go educational, sometimes I'll go educational on some sales education, because I just like to stay sharp on that stuff. Leadership, educational stuff on leadership. John Maxwell. What's this one right here? I have this, developing the leaders around you. I have this on tape because I like to listen to when I'm driving around. Anything John Maxwell. But yeah, so books on tape or YouTube. Typically some of the easiest avenues to do that in the morning. But yeah, so don't think it's a half hour in the morning of each subject. They're like, that's an hour and a half every single morning, just sit in there. Like, what do you do? Just stare at the wall, So sometimes I'm doing it as I'm getting ready. I'm just listening to it. I wish I was sitting there taking notes, which would be the best. And when I have a chance, I'll do that. But usually it's while I'm moving and grooving. It just sits in there, and you subconsciously you pick stuff up too. I feel like, So hope that answers your question though.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. Good guys, good. Well, wow. Okay. So, hey, it's about 11:42. So I know, like I said, I don't want to keep you guys, stuck on these for no reason or just to drag them on. I could go for days and days and days. So believe me, we got a lot of stuff to cover. This is just the tip of the iceberg today, guys. But figured I'd go over some stuff that even if we just learn the notebook things for the rest of your career, man, having a notebook, will be key. There you go. That's first fine. Just like that.
This will be my first notebook. After this, I'll get a really nice leather hard copy.
Yeah. So I have that. That one right there is my personal notebook. So I've been writing like just personal. Actually, that notebook was the notebook that I made a notebook so that I could plan out our honeymoon. So this was the notebook I planned on our honeymoon in. And then I found out that I didn't even really use it. But it was like, like each day we went to Valetta, Malta, then we went to Messina, which is in Sicily, then we went to Palermo, Sicily, then we went to Rome, then we went to Monte Carlo, then we were in Florence, then we were in Marseille in France, then we were in Barcelona. But every day I was like, I'm gonna write all these notes. Look at my notes for Monte Carlo. Nothing. So, at least I tried. At least I tried. I basically like had this idea of like plan out our honeymoon real good. At least I wrote, Rome. Here's Rome. 8 a.m. We're gonna port. That's pretty much So, but yeah. So I had the same notebook there. Well, hey guys, my honeymoon. I started with this company in 2008. We took my honeymoon in October of 2015. So that's 7 years with the company. And I got to go on about a $30,000 honeymoon. The wedding was, about 100, so it's about $130,000 wedding and honeymoon. And I was gone for a month. I left for a month, went to Barcelona, all over Italy and France and all kind of places. And we went to Mallorca. It was pretty cool, Mediterranean, cruising around. That month, because I built my team and poured into everybody and built and just poured in, I made over $120,000 in the month of October while I was in Europe for the month. And that's what this opportunity is all about, really. And I got to tell you, I didn't even think that was possible when I started. So it's crazy, man, how you can't even dream big enough. Well, anyways, that was obviously not boasting or bragging. I wanted to just show you guys what's possible. So hopefully you don't take it as nothing but that. But I appreciate your time, guys, and get excited. Let's get those licenses knocked out. We have a big meeting on Monday. We're gonna have our top performers speak. So everybody always loves that meeting. It's gonna be a good one. It'll be a quicker one. And if you guys can hop on, and if you have friends or family, if you want to get them on too, have them hop on a meeting with you for a Monday at 11 o'clock. So have a great weekend, study up, and let us know if you need anything or we could do anything to help you.
Thank you, Mr. Vina. I appreciate it.
You got it, guys. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks.
See ya.